All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Red, White, and Bleed Blue, featuring these guys in the fucking background just vibing, giving me emotional support. Currently in the Hurley residence because he's been so nice to let us record here in his bedroom with the fucking hanging lights and whatnot, but whatever, we're going to roll with it. Koozie of the video is Bondi Beach Surf Patrol, straight out of somewhere in Australia. I don't really know where.
Wait.
Connor got it.
Mine's... Alright, to add on to the Koozie day, even though I'm not in here, shout out Pinstripe with Putt, all you Yanks fans. We got Brew Through, the drive-through package store down in the Outer Banks, the coolest convenience store in the world. I'd have to agree.
It is wonderful. All right, just to get into what this episode is about. Quick little emergency pod for the New York Giants as some news has come out over the last couple days. To start off, both of our coordinators are back. Who would have thought? To be honest with you, I thought at least one of them was going to go. I thought Martindale had a big market for him considering he turned our defense, which was riddled with many, many holes throughout the whole year, into a respectable group, a top 10 group in my opinion, one of the best in the red zone all year. So I thought he was going to be gone, and the fact that we can retain him, keep him for another year, have these guys learn his system through another full season would be very beneficial for this defense as a whole. On the other hand, we go to the offensive side. We have Mike Kafka, who was he was in the running for the Cardinals job after Cliff Kingsbury got fired. And I think there's a very negative connotation with Mike Kafka's name right now. I don't think he gets the respect from Giants fans, even me, throughout the first half of the season. I didn't think that he was giving the guys in our offense, the keys to work with. But then I realized, more halfway through the season, that we didn't have the weapons to really be creative on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of people have shown their displeasure with Mike Kafka over this year due to the fact that the Giants were a very boring football team to watch during this past season. However, I think that people don't give Mike Kafka the credit that he's due, considering what he was given to start with. This guy went into Week 1 against the Tennessee Titans with Richie James, an undrafted rookie practice squad acquisition from Central Michigan, and he turned him into a decent receiver that became dependable for Daniel Jones throughout this year. And he had to show his creativity with how he was drawing up plays, and Giants fans saw it all this year with all the trickery that they needed to pull just to win games, because they knew that they didn't have the talent on the offensive side of the ball to win. So that's why I think Mike Kafka, I'm very glad that he didn't take the Arizona position, because I don't think he's ready for it yet. But I also think that you give him another year to call plays, and you give him maybe a number one wide receiver, and this offense completely changes. And then maybe in the next summer, then he can actually get a head coaching position, and then that gives enough time for Brian Dable to make changes around that. All right, back into it. And the same thing goes with Wink Martindale, too. Wink Martindale just had to deal with what he was given. Battled injuries throughout this whole season, especially to our secondary. A lack of a pass rush in the beginning of the year with a lot of young guys, a lot of, Kayvon Thibodeau, who didn't play the first 4 games of the year because of a preseason injury, which was very unfortunate. But nonetheless, Wink Martindale did wonderful with what he was given. And he is a huge reason as to why the Giants did what they did this past season. And I think that the bottom line is that the New York Giants just need stability, no matter if it's their coaching, where it's, their stars, re-signing Danny and re-signing Saquon. It's going to be a huge piece to the future. But, they just need stability. That's really all it is. The Giants just need some sort of stability. And Brian Dable and Joe Shane have brought that to New York. I genuinely think that the Giants are trending in an upward direction with the regime they have right now. All right, so the main basis of this video, the reason why we're doing this on a random Monday night, is because there's been some pretty big news with the potential franchise quarterback of the New York Giants and Daniel Jones. So as of the last 24 hours, Daniel Jones has changed his agency from CAA to Athletes First, which should be alarming to a lot of fans because this is the agency that has guys like Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, just to name a few. And we saw what Aaron Rodgers did to the Packers over the last 3 years, basically gouging them for as much money as he possibly could. And, he was the first one to really reset and destroy this quarterback market. So these reports are now coming out that less than 24 hours after Daniel Jones might not have even met his actual agent, but less than 24 hours after he signs with this new company, reports are coming out that he wants up to $45 million a year. And this is what I think about that. I think that is just the New York media twisting the words of what Daniel Jones might have possibly said and making it a headline, just like they did with Eli Manning in 2015. A lot of Giants fans might remember, but Eli Manning came off of one of his worst seasons in 2013, bounced back in 2014, but nonetheless threw 27 interceptions in 2013. And then the offseason of 2015, he wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL. It just doesn't make any sense. And a day after a lot of those reports came out, Eli shot down those claims, saying, "I never said that, never said anything of the sort." But that's just New York media. That's New York media for you. You know what I mean? I mean, every New York franchise has to deal with that. Whether it's the Knicks, whether it's the Yankees, whether it's the Giants, whether it's the Jets. Being in the biggest city in the world is going to come with the biggest critics in the world, and everybody knows that. But I think that Daniel Jones, I really do not think that Daniel Jones is asking for $45 million. If you look at what he did this last season, the guy threw 15 touchdowns. And I love Daniel Jones. I believe in Daniel Jones. I genuinely think that the Giants should extend Daniel Jones and make him our franchise cornerstone alongside Saquon Barkley, but that's a whole other story. But $45 million is ridiculous. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, excuse my French. Aaron Rodgers got $51 million in his age 35 season after, he won an MVP, won a Super Bowl, is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of the modern generation. And that was when he got $50 million. So you look at a guy like Daniel Jones, who has had one above average season, and that's being generous, one above average season, and he's now a $45 million guy. I don't think it does not add up at all. The great thing about this, though, is that Daniel Jones is so young that I hope that Joe Schoen in the front office do figure something out. Maybe, like I said in the last video, a team-friendly deal where he's only making, just over $30 million a year. 3 years, $102 million would be my max for Daniel Jones. But being age 25 with a contract like that gives you the opportunity to get an actual payday at your age 28 season after that hypothetical contract is over. And this guy is young, he's athletic, and he seems to have a lot of longevity in the league. But you see a lot of these guys, Stafford didn't become the highest paid until 5-6 years in the league. He was about 27 or 28. Who else? Garoppolo was about 27 or 28 when he signed his record guaranteed extension. But the main basis about that is that I don't think that Daniel Jones knows that he's not worth that much money. And I think that this is just either his agent trying to make a payday, or it's just been completely twisted by, again, the bullshit New York media that just wants to find a headline. And that's all I got to say about Daniel Jones. I think that Daniel Jones knows what he's worth. He knows that he didn't show enough in these past 17 or 18 games to garner a contract like that. The guy threw for just over 3,000 yards and only threw 5.2 yards per attempt, which was by far the lowest in the NFL. And that just goes to the genius of Mike Kafka and what he did with this garbage offense. It was completely garbage.
All right, so what I was saying is either, all right, so more than higher than likely or not is that the Giants won't franchise him, but whether or not that, so obviously the 45 mil is a little crazy. That probably there's not another team out there that'll give it to him. Maybe, who the hell knows? But if there's another team that counter offers him for halfway through 35 to 40 mil, either way, that's probably not in the Giants' price range for him, and maybe it is. But I mean, what were you just talking?
So here's the thing about that. I don't think that there's a market for Daniel Jones. I really don't think there is. I think the only people that believe in Daniel Jones are Giants fans and really nobody else. I mean,
I'm a bit of a Danny Dimes.
Yeah, but that's only because you're friends with me. But think about it. If you're a casual football watcher, you look at Daniel Jones and you look at his stats and you look at what he's done.
Sure, but what he's done with that offense.
$45 million, though.
No, that's insane.
That's Aaron Rodgers money.
No, I mean he won't get that, but maybe a 35 mil.
I think the Giants are going to offer him 32. I think that was the number me and Ethan discussed. I think 32 is the perfect number for Daniel Jones.
Maybe high 30s. Maybe another team. I can't think of a team off my top of my head, but maybe a Carolina. Maybe he's still playing in MetLife and the Jets give it to him.
You look at these QB needy teams, though. You look at the Jets. You look at the Texans.
He's still very young.
The Bears. I think that one sample season, I should say, of an offense that was clearly dysfunctional just shows that I don't think Danny showed enough to these other teams. I think that me as a Giants fan believes it because we know the shit cards that he's been dealt over the past 4 years, but nobody else really, looks into that. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Let me ask you this. If you were the Chicago Bears, not the Chicago Bears, the Houston Texans is what I mean.
There you go. That's a better option.
If you were the Houston Texans, would you rather give Daniel Jones a $40 million contract with the sample size of one season where he threw 15 touchdowns, or do you take a chance on a quarterback earlier in the draft?
I mean that's the tougher of the question, but maybe a more seasoned team would use a quarterback. Maybe
like who though?
Maybe New York Jets. They've got weapons. They've got decent defense. Why not the Jets? The Jets are already looking into Aaron Rodgers. Say they don't get Rodgers, they throw Daniel Jones a $38 million a year contract for 2-3 years.
But I mean, even I don't think that.
And he stays playing in the same.
But
I don't think that'll happen.
I still don't think that there's enough of a market for Daniel Jones, though. And the only reason why I say this.
And honestly, I hate Daniel Jones because he's Duke Blue Devil. If you've watched previous Koozie videos, fuck Duke.
Go Duke.
Go Duke!
But besides the point, whatever. Fucking basketball. Not what we're talking about.
I hate Duke football just because of their basketball program. UConn football kicks their shit in. We'll cut that out because there's nothing. All right, we'll leave it in. We'll leave it in. Fuck Duke.
But so the thing is with Daniel Jones is that I genuinely think that Kafka and Dable were the first tandem to give him a chance. And I say give him a chance by just trusting him. And Daniel Jones had a carousel of coaches.
Yeah.
Started with McAdoo, had Pat Shurmur, and had Joe Judge, and now Brian Dable. That's his fourth coach in 4 years.
That's
not fair to any young. Exactly, but now,
especially coming from a Steelers fan, there's been 3 head coaches since whatever the hell it is, since Chuck Noll was hired in 1969. Exactly. And you look at, and there was a carousel of quarterbacks through the mid 2000s, or actually through fucking 1980 when Terry Bradshaw retired because he plays with the damn fucking 70s. He played like 12 years. Up until 2004, where Ben Roethlisberger was retired. Yeah. There was a carousel of quarterbacks, and it was the same coach, and they continued to stick with the same coach until Big Ben came through.
the main point of what my argument is, though, is that do any other team, do the Jets, do the Panthers, do the Texans,
No.
any of those teams want to take a chance on putting Daniel Jones in yet another new system for him to learn, which would be the fifth system in 5 years that he's had to learn?
The answer,
while paying him $40 million?
The answer is no. The question is, are they dumb enough?
That's true. I mean, there's a reason why the Texans have been bottom of the barrel.
And there's a reason why the New York Jets are right there, and they see, hey, let's go take our competition's quarterback. Why not?
I would just hope that I certainly would hope that NFL teams would be a lot smarter than to make a bet like that. And I mean, even the Giants too. The Giants are in the same boat of that, though, is that they should not bet on Daniel Jones just yet after one season where he threw 3,000 yards. And I know the mishaps he had on offense.
I think it really depends on the years.
I think it depends on the price tag. I think because that's going
to matter. But the years will really, but why would you not take a chance on the guy after years?
Because he's 25 and he's had one.
That's why he's only 25.
Yeah, but he's only 25. Are you going to give a 25-year-old that's had one decent season $45 million a year?
That's the currency in the NFL. You want to go? I mean, who are you going to go take a chance on in the draft? At whatever, what pick are you at? 16, 17?
The Giants are at 25.
25. Good lord.
If the Giants wanted,
who are you going to go take a chance on? It's not Young. It's not Stroud. It's probably not even Will Levis.
So that's the thing. If the Giants were to try to do that, if they were to let go of Jones, this is all hypothetical. If they were to let go of Jones, I think that they would trade up for a guy like Anthony Richardson. But I don't want another guy as a project at quarterback.
Why would you? And Daniel Jones wasn't even as Anthony Richardson is way
Daniel
more of a
Jones
product.
Was a project.
All right, but you're talking
59.7% completion percentage.
But you're talking Anthony Richardson. That's a fucking.
I know.
That's a half an option quarterback.
A lot of people.
That's an option quarterback, dude. That is an SEC football option quarterback.
A lot more people like Anthony Richardson than you think. I promise you that.
I know they do, but he's a SEC option guy, dude. You might as well take Braxton Miller. You remember Braxton Miller?
Shout out Braxton.
Yeah, you remember Braxton Miller? The guy didn't even finish his college career at quarterback because of freaking what? No, it wasn't JT yet. It was it JT? I think it might have been
Barrett.
Yeah, was it JT who took his job?
Might have been.
Cordell. No, it was. So
JT
JT took his job, and then he got hurt, and then Cordell was throwing him touchdown passes.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of me. That's enough of me. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
Bottom line, one, I don't even think that the claim that Daniel Jones wants $45 million is true. I just think that's the New York media completely twisting words into something they just want to make as a headline. That's the bottom line. Very reminiscent of Eli Manning in 2015. But I think that Daniel Jones is a team player. I genuinely think he is. I think that he is going to make the sacrifice to, maybe take just over $30 million a year, even if that is a fucking sacrifice or not, because it's not. But I think he knows that his better days are ahead and that he could sign a deal like Aaron Rodgers around $50 million if he deserves it at age 28. And there's no problem with that whatsoever. All right, moving on to April. There's a lot of questions about this Giants offense. And number one, it's the wide receiver position. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do with the number 25 overall pick. Just to go through some scenarios. If we were to stay at 25, which I honestly don't want to do that, I think a guy like Mario Addison could fall to 25. Mario Addison's a great route runner, did a phenomenal job at USC. Even during his Pitt days, he was a Biletnikoff finalist at Pitt. He's a great route runner. He's probably the most complete receiver in this class that you could put at the X position. Jackson Smith-Njigba is, he's slot-oriented. Quentin Johnson reminds me of a guy like Larry Fitzgerald, who's more of a possession-based receiver. they can't do everything that you want as a number one option. Is he going to be pretty fucking good? Probably. But moving on, another guy that I think the Giants could possibly get at 25 if he were to fall on the draft board is Joey Porter Jr., the cornerback out of Penn State, son of Joey Porter, the Steelers fucking legend, even though Putt just walked out of the room. He's going to love that when he's editing this. But, yeah, Joey Porter is the definition of a true lockdown corner. He's been getting Jalen Ramsey comparison, Patrick Peterson comparisons, Darrelle Revis comparisons. And if a guy like that were to fall at 25, I think you give Martindale another year with this defense. You put another guy across from Adoree', and we know Adoree's getting old. I mean, he's only 28 or 29 years old, but being at a position like cornerback, you need the young, explosive players at cornerback because it's the hardest position on the defense. I mean, you get zero slack cut to you when you're playing cornerback. But if Joey Porter wasn't available at 25, which probably is the likely scenario, I've seen him going anywhere from 14 to 26. That is his range as of right now, pre-draft. But if the Giants wanted to, maybe take a risk, there's a guy like Deonte Banks, the cornerback from Maryland, who had a phenomenal senior year, had 29 solo tackles, 11 passes defended, and could be, he's another guy that fits that big physical role that the Giants really could use on the outside at cornerback. Do I think that that's probably a reach at 25? Absolutely. Hopefully he just slides till the second round and we can get him at pick 57. That would be ideal. But the final scenario that I have with the 25th pick is the Giants trading up. And that would be for a guy like Quentin Johnson. I don't love Quentin Johnson, but I think that Joe Schoen could take a risk on him. And there are two teams that I think the Giants could trade up with, and that is the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. So the Carolina Panthers already have a number one wide receiver. They're not looking for a guy to, make or break their offense. They have bigger problems. They need to find a quarterback. They need to maybe beef up their offensive line, beef up their defense. They have a lot more problems to worry about than bolstering their receiving core. So I think that could be the primary option at number 9. The Giants maybe could trade their 25th pick, a third rounder, maybe a future pick, who knows. But, for example, I think that the Atlanta Falcons would probably be the better choice out of the two, considering they already got their franchise receiver in Drake London in the last draft. So they don't really need to stay around at the 7th pick, you know what I mean? But I don't think any of those are really fathomable. I think they're just scenarios. But what I really want to happen, this is the priority. Joe Shane, if you're listening to this, please make this happen because you will make me so happy as a Giants fan. And that is to find an experienced wide receiver 1. Whether it's DJ Moore from the Panthers, we steal him and then they can draft Quentin Johnson, whatever. I don't care. Or a big guy who just got recently suspended last year, and DeAndre Hopkins for the Arizona Cardinals has clearly been unhappy with his situation there, especially since Kyler Murray's now down and out for the rest of the season up until I think week 13 of next year. He's not going to want to stay there. And I think that the Giants have the capital to trade up for one of those two guys. Whether it's you give up our first round pick and then you give up the conditional third round pick that we got for Kadarius Toney. Something needs to happen. The Giants need to have a playmaker at the receiver position because that is That's our biggest hole, and I think every Giants fan would tell you that. All right, that's it for the second episode of Red, White, and Bleed Blue. I'm Dawson. That's Kyle. That's Kyle. That's Putt.
Hey, how you doing?
Hopefully, this is the only solo pod that I have to do throughout the whole longevity of this show.
That'll suck.
Ethan, fuck you for not doing this with me. Hopefully, next episode, Ethan is actually on this one, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the next couple months, especially the draft, especially seeing what Joe Shane does in his first calendar year. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be excited for the New York Giants, and these guys are fucking freaking me out with their shit around my shoulder.
I'm fucking hammered back here.
All right, yeah, that's been it, guys. It's been a pleasure. Cheers.
It's been a pleasure. Before Dawson signs off, all you Yankees fans, Pinstripes a putt with me and this beautiful young man.
Yep. Hey.
All season long, we're about to get fucking ripping, baby.
Frank the Tank is going to be on the way. Get ready for the next pot.
Yeah, right? Frank, if you're watching this, Frank, if you're watching this, stop getting drunk at the Foxy Lady in Providence, Rhode Island.
That's enough. All right, guys. All right, like, subscribe, share, show your friends, show your grandmother, your mother, fucking aunt. I don't know who.
Your grandmother's mother.
Exactly. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, catch you guys in the next episode. So, peace.
Woo!